Eva and Cot. Decoding the nature of a villain in the story. Following the developments of Beyond the Gates, especially after episode 183, we can't avoid asking a difficult question. Who is the real villain, Eva or Cot? But this question, while seemingly simple, is layered with complex ideas about what it means to become a villain. Layers of guilt. To answer it, we must redefine villain not as a fixed title, but as a trajectory, a path characters either knowingly or unknowingly step onto. Eva embodies a subtle kind of guilt. The guilt of understanding and staying silent. She didn't commit the murder attempts or the betrayal. She witnessed them, understood them, and chose to manage them by forgetting. Her involvement in covering up an attempted murder wasn't an instinctive decision. It was a calculated choice. She was taught that silence equals survival, and she acted accordingly. But the difference between being forced into silence and choosing silence is the very line this story wants us to examine. Eva isn't a child bound by circumstance, she is a capable adult who could have acted differently, but chose not to. Cot, on the other hand, embodies a chaotic kind of guilt. Guilt driven by uncontrolled emotion. She doesn't stay silent, she screams. She doesn't Hidesh openly condemns. This contrast is key. Cot's actions stem from a desperate need to be heard and seen. They are reactions, not strategies. However, reactive harm still counts as harm, sometimes even more severe. When anger becomes a weapon, it strikes anyone nearby, whether they are the true offender or not. The difference between internal and external harm. To truly understand who is the villain, we must examine what separates intentional harm from accidental harm. Eva harms through control. She infiltrates Cot's life by taking up space within a family that Cot already feels insecure in, using kindness and charm to win favor, maintaining secrecy about her past, allowing other specially to trust a partial version of her. This isn't necessarily malicious, but it is deliberate. Eva knows what she's doing. She can see Cot is hurting. She continues anyway. Cot harms through outbursts. She herds people like frightened sheep by judging before listening, concluding without understanding, attacking those who aren't responsible, using her wounded self-esteem as a tool to make others feel like offenders. Her actions are not calculate, but they have consequences. She doesn't strategize. She reacts. But in a family already scarred, those reactions explode like a bomb. A clash of two different stories. To understand who the actual villain is, we must accept that Eva and Cot are living into different narratives. Eva is a character in a story of survival within toxicity. She learned to navigate a world where trust is a trap and relationships are strategy. Her story is about staying alive through calculated behavior and strategic appearances. Cot is a character in a story of recovery and isolation. She emerged from depression searching for a world where trust is real and love is unconditional. She expected a different kind of family. When she didn't get it, she was devastated. These two stories crash into one another, and in that collision, both women become traps for each other. The illusion of love and the reality of fiction. A deeper analysis of these characters requires acknowledging that both Eva and Cot are surrounded by people who are not what they appear to be. Eva's mother, Leslie, is a toxic strategist. She taught Eva that people cannot be trusted. Love is a joke, and power comes from doing what others won't. Cot, meanwhile, is surrounded by people from her extended family to friends who cannot or will not see her truly. They treat her like a decoration, a symbol of familial love, without seeing her loneliness. This complicates the question. Eva isn't a villain because of who she is, she becomes one because she chooses actions she knows will hurt others. Cot isn't a villain because she is hurt, she becomes one when her pain becomes a weapon pointed outward. Intention versus instinct. There is a core difference between someone who understands the consequences of their actions but acts anyway, someone who lashes out instinctively and doesn't fully understand the damage. Eva understands. She was shaped by calculation. She knows she is crossing boundaries. She knows she is hiding pieces of herself. She chooses to do so because she believes it is the only way to to survive in a world where she holds no power. Kot does not understand. She was shaped by emotional reaction. She is angry because she is hurt. And she is hurt because she believes she should be unconditionally loved. When that belief collapses, she explodes. Calculation versus reaction. This is where who is the villain becomes a real question. Past versus present. There is another way to see this. Eva is the product of a toxic past. What she does today is shaped by what she endured. Kot is the victim of an unfair present. What she does today is a direct response to the pain she feels now. This creates an imbalance. We can make excuses for Eva because she is the product of trauma. But Kot, she is choosing anger in the present. But this is dangerous thinking. Kot's actions are also the result of what she has endured. She didn't choose to be hurt. She only chose how to respond. And in that response, she becomes harmful. Not intentional but impactful. A cycle of shared guilt. Viewed through the lens of a damaged family system, a pattern emerges. Eva and Kot are not standalone villains. They are two parts of the same cycle. Leslie created Eva calculating, silent, survival-driven character. But Leslie also indirectly created Kat crafting a family where trust is impossible. In that environment, Eva is a villain because she chooses strategy over vulnerability. Kot is a villain because she chooses explosions over understanding. So, who is the real villain? If we must choose, Eva is the villain of the past, Kot is the villain of the present, that both are victims of their histories, and both are perpetrators of pain in the current moment. The only difference, Eva knows what she is doing. She chooses it. She controls it. Kot does not understand what she is doing. She merely reacts. She cannot control it. Yet both cause damage. Both are villains in their own ways. And if this story is truly about exposing toxic cycles, then both women will eventually have to confront their roles in sustaining that cycle. Once they recognize they are parts of the same destructive machine, the question who is the villain becomes irrelevant. The real question becomes, who will stop being the villain first? Part 2. Beyond the Gates, Thursday, December 4th, 2025. Alliances shift, tempers flare, and a desperate plea for mercy. The quiet streets of Fairmont Crest were anything but peaceful in today's episode of Beyond the Gates. As Winterfest preparations marched forward, relationships cracked, unexpected alliances surfaced, and old resentments resurfaced with a vengeance. From Leslie's desperate cry for help to Anita's shady negotiations and Shanice's matchmaking mission, December 4th delivered a day of chaos wrapped in holiday lights. Anita's dark request and Ellen's profitable solution. Winterfest may be a celebration of community and joy, and Anita has something far more sinister on her mind. Consumed by paranoia and fury, she corners Elon with an outrageous request. Make Leslie disappear. Whether she means a temporary exile, a locked basement, or something far worse remains intentionally vague, but the desperation in her voice makes her intentions unmistakably chilling. Elon, always the opportunist, doesn't flinch. He won't personally get his hands dirty, of course, but he's more than willing to assist by outsourcing the dirty work. Enter Marcel, an off-duty officer with a fondness for cash and flexible morality. Winterfest security. Show. Babysitting or imprisoning Glee. For the right price, he's all in. The holiday festival is beginning to look less like a winter wonderland and more like the set of a crime noir. Sidwell's blackmail tightens the noose, and Curtis struggles with the truth. Elsewhere in Fairmont Crest, moral compromises spreading like wildfire. Sidwell corners Laura, tightening his blackmail grip with chilling precision. His demands are unclear, but the panic in Laura's eyes suggests they're escalating. Meanwhile, Curtis, burdened with guilt, finally confesses something to Jordan. But is it the whole truth? The show leaves us dangling, forcing viewers to wonder whether Curtis is genuinely seeking redemption or strategically offering just enough honesty to keep himself safe. Trust is fraying everywhere, and the cracks are showing. Leslie fights to save Peaches, but the holidays aren't helping. Desperate to inject a little holiday spirit into Peaches' life, Leslie tries everything from cheerful decorations to upbeat pep talks, but Peaches is unmoved. Her resignation is palpable. She doesn't believe the clinical trial will save her, and she's too exhausted to pretend otherwise. With heartbreaking honesty, she tells Leslie she is going to die anyway. Shaken, Leslie corners Peaches' doctor in the hallway. She wants solutions, hope anything, but the doctor gives her something she didn't expect. A recommendation for therapy. Not for Peaches but for Leslie. The truth is brutal. Leslie is drowning in a need to control what she cannot change. Nicole faces cancellations, emergencies, and a surprise matchmaker. Back at the clinic, Nicole's professional world collapses into chaos when Carlton abruptly cancels her Winterfest appointment due to a family emergency. Nicole hides her disappointment, but her frustration is clear. Luckily, Shanna steps in like a breath of fresh air. Sensing Nicole's loneliness and growing stress, the perceptive nurse throws out the idea of a blind date. Nicole hesitates, always does, but hesitation has never stopped Shanna before. While Nicole debates the idea, Shanna quietly begins setting the wheels in motion. A name, a time, a meeting spot. Nicole doesn't know it yet, but her evening plans are being written behind her back. A mother-daughter bond tested and a medical scare averted. Just as Nicole is regaining her footing, Anita bursts into her office radiating excitement and chaos. But the good mood shatters, and Nicole gets overly enthusiastic enough to spike her own vitals, and Carlton cancels yet again. The disappointment is sharp, but Anita softens it by reminding her daughter that Carlton is just a friend. Nothing more, nothing less. Together, they review Anita's recently released test results. Mercifully, everything looks normal. Relief washes over the room, a rare moment of calm in an otherwise tempestuous day. But the peace doesn't last. Leslie arrives in crisis and only Nicole can help. The tranquility is shattered when Leslie nearly breaks down the door, pounding with frantic urgency. She all but collapses into the room, pleading with Nicole to listen, begging her to put aside old grudges and help Peaches. Anita stands behind her, arms folded and fury simmering. But Leslie doesn't care. Pride, reputation, dignity, she leaves them all at the door. Because to Leslie, Peaches isn't just a patient. She's a good person, a person worth saving. And in Leslie's eyes, no one is more qualified to save her than Dr. Nicole. Nicole now carries the weight of a choice that could change several lives and break several hearts.